Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I'm Chris Sagan, the New Hampshire Republican Party Chairman. And I'd like to invite, I'm very happy that you're here for our 5th Beyond the SoundBite lecture. And we want to thank the Institute of Ann Kamen does all the setup, the director Neil Lebeck, and the entire staff of St. Anselm's. Thank you very much. Please rise as Representative Larry Gagne of Manchester leads us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Thank you. Tonight we're very honored to have a gentleman with us, Vivek Ramaswamy, entrepreneur, head of a biotech company, Fox News contributor, and New York Times best-selling author. I think you're gonna really enjoy this presentation. 45 minutes of him presenting, and then 45 minutes of questions from folks in the crowd, and we'll have some young college folks around with microphones. So without further ado, please enjoy this approximately 3-minute video introducing Vivek. Thank you.
You founded a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, or several of them. You led a biotech company. You became a hedge fund partner in your 20s. Right. You've accomplished a lot. Why are you pulling back the curtain? Why is it important for us to know what's really happening?
These companies pretend like they care about something other than profit and power, precisely to gain more of each. A problem with signaling your virtue is at some point the appearance of virtue becomes more important than being virtuous itself. And if you actually care about black lives, then the thing you're going to say isn't just chanting Black Lives Matter and say clear the jails. You're going to actually implement policies that prevent not only black people, but all people in this country from getting killed. I'm a millennial, right? People my age and younger, we are hungry for a cause. We are hungry for purpose. I think we're hungry for identity, but I think mixing morality with consumerism is the wrong way to actually fulfill that hunger. And I think we need to be talking about these issues from sports to academics to our culture, going after excellence unapologetically. That is what it means to be American. Let's not be shy about talking about it. That's what we need to revive across all races, across all skin colors. That's part of what makes us American.
I love it, and I'm glad that you're leading the conversation.
There's one reason these migrants are looking across the border. It is because we have a weak president in office. And when America is weak, the world is a less safe place. And we're seeing firsthand on video through live footage that you just put up, the fact that weakness actually begets danger here at home and on the world stage.
Wow, I had to write that down. I do often take notes when you're talking, but usually not quite this obviously. When America is weak, the rest of the world is less safe.
The rest of the world is less safe. Absolutely. Mark my words, from Afghanistan to the southern border of Texas. Actually happen to be. This is what we should hold Facebook accountable for, though, and I want to be really precise about it. I think we should hold them accountable for their rampant institutional lying. They say one thing, they do another. I think there's a good case for consumer fraud. The definition of consumer fraud is telling consumers you do one thing and actually doing another. This is a powder keg waiting to explode if we say go to minority communities first, and then God forbid something even appears to go wrong. I think this could be one of the dangerous mistakes of our century if we really use this moment to racialize the distribution of a public good.
That is such a wise point. That is exactly right.
And the thing about America as a country is that we are not, like many other countries through human history, defined on the basis of a single ethnicity or a single language or a single monarch for that matter. America is an idea. And part of being an idea as a country means this: the way we describe America affects the way that America actually works. Well, look, when I see those images of people protesting, I don't see vaccines of COVID-19 being at the heart of the issue. I see public trust in our leaders as being the heart of that issue. Democracy is not about just casting some ballot every November. It is about the health of a democracy. It's all about people being willing to share their actual opinions in public, in the open. And when we threaten people with getting kicked off a team, with losing their job, with failing their classes for having the wrong opinion, then the health of our democracy right now is abysmal. Complexity favors the people who are well-connected. So in a certain sense, this is just what we've always seen all along, is the well-connected are using a smokescreen of woke values to cover up for a complex system that the same reason as the federal tax code is complicated, it helps those who are in power. You know that as well as anybody.
That is such a great point.
Thank you. I'll kick off with an obvious observation that will color the theme of my talk tonight, which is that it's not 1980 anymore. Like Dorothy might have said to Toto in The Wizard of Oz, okay? We're not in 1980. And I'll tell you, today I think we face two existential threats to our country that are different from anything we've faced in our nation's history. The first is the rise of a Chinese Communist Party that, unlike the Soviet Union in 1980, supplies the phones in our pocket and the shoes on our feet.
Right.
It's different this time around. The second thing that's different from 1980 is that the biggest threat to liberty and prosperity today is not just big government, but a new hybrid of big government and big business that together is more powerful than either one alone. Now, we face these threats against the backdrop of a national identity crisis. And here I speak as a member of my generation. I'm a millennial. I'm 37 years old. I was born in 1985. And I will tell you that my generation and younger, we are hungry for a cause. We are hungry for meaning. We are hungry for purpose. At a time in our national history when the things that used to fill that void of purpose, things like faith, patriotism, hard work, family, these things have disappeared in modern American life, leaving a deep moral and cultural vacuum in its wake. And when you have a black hole that runs that deep, that is when poison fills the void. That is why we flock from one secular religion to another, from wokeism to climatism to COVIDism to transgenderism or transgender authoritarianism, as I think the word that Skip was using, and I was chatting with him beforehand. Why do we do it? Why do we suffer from this mental health epidemic, depression, anxiety raging in my generation and younger? I think it is in part because we hunger to be part of something bigger than ourselves. Yet we cannot even answer the question of what it means to be an American in the year 2023. That'll be the theme of my talk this evening. What does it mean to be an American today? As I begin to answer that, I'll take you back to a moment in 1993. And I was in second grade, and I heard Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech for the first time. That was a speech where he said, I hope my 4 children grow up in a country where they are judged not on the color of their skin, but on the content of their character. I'll tell you something, that dream, it stuck with me. It meant something to me because it was the dream that allowed me to go in a single generation from being the kid of Indian immigrants who came to this country with almost no money to becoming the founder of a multi-billion-dollar biotech company. I had the privilege of leading that company as CEO for 7 years, oversaw the development of tens of medicines, 5 of them are FDA-approved products today. But I stepped down as CEO of that company over 2 years ago to focus on a different kind of cancer. Not a biological cancer, but a cultural cancer that threatened to kill that dream that Martin Luther King had 60 years ago. That threatened to kill the dream that allowed me to achieve everything I ever had in my life. One of the things they teach you in biotech and in medicine is that in order to understand a cancer, you have to go to its root causes. The root causes of this cancer began not in even 21st century America, but actually in the 20th century on the other side of the ocean. The root cause of this cancer was, you take the two most toxic philosophies of the 20th century, ask me what they are. German Nazism on one hand, which is identity politics on steroids. And then Soviet Marxism on the other, which is an oppressor-oppressed narrative on steroids. You combine the two and what do you get? You get modern wokeism here on 21st century American soil. This is a new secular religion in our country. It says your identity is based on your race, your gender, and your sexual orientation, full stop. It says that America is a systemically racist country, that if you're black, you're inherently disadvantaged, that if you're white, you're inherently privileged. No matter your economic background or upbringing, actually, it is your race, your gender, and your sexual orientation that govern who you are, what you're allowed to achieve, and even what you're allowed to think. This is a new form of psychological slavery, actually, today. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, I quoted her earlier today in a breakfast meeting I was at. I'll give her a full quote, actually, tonight. She famously said a couple of years ago that we don't want any more black faces that don't want to be a black voice. That we don't want any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice, end quote. I promise you, I do not fit her description of what counts as a brown voice. But there is a toxic philosophy embedded in there. And it's this. When your race goes from being about your skin color to being about the content of the ideas you're allowed to espouse, then any disagreement with those ideas automatically makes you a racist. And there is no greater damnation in modern America than to be called a racist. So when given the choice between pledging allegiance to this new religion and being tarred with that scarlet R, everyday Americans are choosing to bend the knee. And that is what's created this new culture of fear in our country. Fear of losing your jobs, fear of your kids getting a bad grade in school, fear of becoming a pariah in your own community. And that culture of fear is what's replaced our culture of free speech in America. And as I said in that video, the best measure of the health of any democracy, especially American democracy, is the percentage of people who feel free to say what they actually think in public. And there is no doubt we are doing poorly today.
Croc TV.